Greetings, collective. It's me, Senpai Swanee, and thank you for joining me in another of our Tokyo sessions, a safe place for us to learn together, heal together, and descend together. Trust that the universe is on your side and has entrusted you with the power and authority to help bring the divine vision to life. Take your position as co-creator with confidence. You are the gatekeeper. If it does not apply, let it fly. Create love, create beauty, create greatness. I had my Palo Santo lit up here. Let me go ahead and get this relit so that we can say our prayer. Pretty much I've been picking up on an energy, and the only word that I keep searching for a word for this divine energy, like one of God's own. But I get that someone's tired. That's the only word that comes to mind. And like, I do want to put out a message of like, keep going. Dearest ancestors of the highest light, archangels Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, Metatron, Uriel, Ashrael, Ariel, dearest divine, most high God, I humbly come to you asking for your protection during this reading. Let me be a vessel in which truth is fostered for my and the collective's highest good. We come to you seeking clarity. Let every evil eye go blind and every ill intention collapse into the depths of darkness, never to see light. We thank you for your love and we're eternally grateful. Ashe and Amen. Okay? Like I say, I've been picking up on an energy, maybe a divine feminine, maybe a divine masculine. And it seems like I say, like it's something you've been long time waiting on, whether it's been like a soul connection, love. I'm trying to get this yellow candle lit here or whatnot. I'm gonna have to get me some more yellow candles. Like, I'm a sympathetic crier, and this energy has just got me like wanting to like hug you, like everything's gonna be okay. I get that there's someone who like, it's not that you're lonely. You have people around you. You have a great support system. But it's like the India Ari song, I am ready for love. And I get that there's someone who you put in the work. And it irritates me so much when people be like, oh, well, maybe, there's still this that you need to do. There's still traumas. There's still healing. There's everything. And I get that, like, you've done the work, like you uplift others. You've gone into like your solitude and things like that. Things that I still have to kind of progress into. Like, you're further advanced and you're wondering still why hasn't your turn come up. And no, you're not being punished. I can't necessarily confirm that you still have more healing to do. I can say that there are maybe certain old wounds that it's like you've done the shadow work for them, so you're over it, but to a certain extent it's still somewhat of a trigger for you. You've been mistreated, you've been taken advantage of, you've been unappreciated, but there's still kind of like a hurt that comes from it, a disappointment that comes from it, just something there that you're not quite over. Let's get into the tarot and see if we can get more information on this. Oh, the first card to come out is a Tower. Okay, like I say, someone is actually kind of like you're in this Tower energy right now. Like I say, and it's not like, okay, you've been selfish. Is I don't. Maybe it is kind of like a confidence thing that you have here as well, where, but it's because you haven't, like, you're watching everyone else, like, come into these unions, and mind you, they may not even be like, divine unions, but it's like you're watching everyone get their turn, always the bridesmaid, never the bride kind of energy. And it's got you in this like forlorn energy. Just, what's this card here that flipped out? Like, like, when is it my turn? That's what I get from, and Ace of Swords. Okay, so like I say, there may be, if we're very honest, even though you've done, like, so much work uplifting others and things like that, there's still something that spirit is dealing with your heart about. Maybe, look, King of Pentacles here. Maybe the problem is when and I don't even want to call it a problem, okay? Maybe one of the things that spirit is dealing with you is that when you do get into these relationships, like I say, some of those old wounds, you're still hyper vigilant about those old wounds, to where, you're looking out for red flags, and you've got your boundaries, so up, you're so ready to walk out, because you've been in solitude, you've been alone for so long, and you've been promising yourself that I'm not going to let myself be taken advantage of anymore. I'm not going to just rent my body out to, the highest bidder, in a sense. I'm not going to lose myself in these relationships. And it's like, when you do get into these relationships again, you're so hyper vigilant about the red flags that you walk away. And there's nothing wrong with that. By all means, have your boundaries. But then at the same time, at the end of the night, you're wondering, when is it my turn? And no, look, Three of Pentacles, okay? Like, you're ready to come into this union. No, I get divine feminine, divine masculine, whoever it is that I'm speaking to in the collective. I know you hear me say all the time, hey, you know, it's not for me an issue of self-confidence. I don't so much get from you that it's an issue of self-confidence, but I do feel like you've taken your self-confidence has taken a few blows, because you're not in a union. And I would encourage you to find a few affirmations to speak to yourself every day. Look in the mirror, and like, if you got to fake it till you make it, but like, really get yourself to understand that you are beautiful, you are deserving, you are worthy of love, of this divine union. Like I say, it's not like you're under a punishment. It's not like you still have lessons to learn. You've done your work. You've learned your lessons. You sat with yourself in solitude. You sat with yourself in isolation. You have your boundaries. And yet, where is it? Okay. We have the Devil card coming out. It's not an obsession with you, but it is disheartening for you. And my heart goes out to you. Listen, like I say, I know you have a support system. You have 100 people tell you they love you. Let me be 101. I love you. Collective, I think you are beautiful. I think you have a beautiful heart. I think you deserve, and I think divine says that you deserve a love that you're worthy of. The thing is that maybe you want to consider relocating because where you are, your divine counterpart can't get to you. Like I feel sometimes that way too. Like, like in Florida, like all the guys here are just like, oh, and maybe like once I move out of Florida, I will find me like someone worth giving my time to, giving my attention to. But I get that more so for you. And it's like, yeah, you could, the divine can make it possible for, like, Mr. Right or Miss Right to show up right where you are. But it's like there's equal give and take with the universe. And it may be time for you to uproot and show what you're willing to give and take, well, give so that you may have. Okay. What's it? Familiarity breeds contentment, or contentment breeds familiarity, however the saying goes. It might be time for you to uproot. The first card to come out here is the Star, but the Star did come out in reverse. And more so, what I'm getting from this is that maybe, I don't know if you're a single mother, a single father, whatever your situation has been, whether you've just been in relationship after relationship where you've been giving and I won't say not receiving, but you've been giving so much of yourself, too much of yourself. And at this point, it's like you're tired. The next card to come out is Judgment. And you finally come into this energy where you're recognizing that, like, you've been giving so much of yourself and you've been trying to make so many other people happy without truly being happy. And it's one thing to go out to a restaurant by yourself. It's one thing to, like, go sit at the bar, by yourself and, like, meet other people and things like that. It's a whole other ball game when you're completely out of your environment, completely out of your city, completely out of your state, long term. And again, it's not to go into a whole new level of isolation, but so that you're not so reliant on old connections and familiar connections, but to truly build brand new connections. It's like I have twin daughters, and usually I keep them together. But it's like when it comes to things like school that they're in now and things like that, I kind of like the idea of them being able to learn how to fend for themselves individually without relying, on your sister always being there, to where you don't really have to make friends. You don't really have to do anything, because if anything, your sister is there, your best friend or what have you, like that. Maybe you, like I said, you have children. Maybe you have grown adult children. If, of course, if you have smaller children, I'm not telling you to, like, leave your children behind and go on this solo Buddha journey. But at the same time, Buddha did leave his wife and his child behind to go on his trek that he went to find, what spirit led him to discover about spirituality. Okay. Things like that aren't as rational to do in this day and age, but I do get that you might have to really like get away from everyone. And like I say, not like, oh, like just going out to eat by yourself or something like that, but like, or even a cruise by yourself. You can start it as a cruise, but what spirit wants you to do is like really get out of what has always been familiar for you. Like it's time. We have here a King of Wands, okay? There's someone in your energy that like maybe these are exes, maybe again these are people that you've always been able to call on. You do have, those good friends in your life that you've been able to call on when you couldn't call on anyone else, when you couldn't call on a husband or ex-husband or baby daddy or baby mama or even your actual mama, but you've always had these people that you could rely on, and that is a blessing. Okay? But it's like right now you need to go. You just need to go out into like the world solo again, without the responsibility of children, without the responsibility of making anyone else happy but yourself. The Five of Wands card comes out, and it's like I say, I get that, especially if you have things like small children and things like that. Maybe, you're a masculine watching this and you don't want to be a deadbeat dad. By all means, I encourage no, don't be a deadbeat dad. We have so many of those in this world now. Okay. Um, Again, if you're a mother and you have like smaller children, this may not be an easier task for you. But the energy that I'm talking to here, you either have grown adult children or at least children old enough to like take care of themselves without you necessarily being present. Maybe it isn't like a forever move. Maybe you just need to go off on like a vacation by yourself, but like not even like a couple days, like a month. And again, it's not for isolation. You Spirit wants you out and about, making brand new, maybe making brand new connections, maybe not just even making brand new connections, maybe doing the great work out in the world. If you have a platform, if you're a tarot reader and things, more than just this, more than just people who tune into your channel, maybe it's time for you to plant seeds out in the actual like world, on the street. The sun is equal give and take with the universe, and what you've been doing is appreciated. And it's not to say that you haven't been doing enough, but it may be time for you to step up your game. New levels, new devils, but the pendulum swings for greater blessings. The sun is the happiest card in the tarot deck, right? Queen of Pentacles. For you to get there, you got to put in the work. And again, I recognize and I appreciate the work that you've done thus far. Far more work than me. Okay. I'm talking to someone who has a channel, and I see these, tarot readers, and again, I don't want to, please don't think that I'm like talking bad about tarot readers or anything like that. I admire you. I want to be like you. I want to be able to like get on here consistently and give words of encouragement without falling into bitterness because of like my own circumstances and things like that. I admire you. I look up to you. I probably watch you. And if I don't watch you, I'm sure if I came across you, I admire the work that you've been doing. But like I say, sometimes we fall into, things like YouTube, and because it's convenient, it's easier. But with the power that you yield, like I say, the divine, the universe has entrusted us with the power and authority. But with the power that you yield, it's time to come out of the small time of things like posting on social medias and things like that, and really get out in the world. And I'm not telling you to stand on the corner with a sign saying, Jesus is coming or anything like that. But there's so many more people who need to be reached. It's like, to a certain extent, I feel like when we post on YouTube, or the different social media platforms, the people that's coming to watch, sometimes you have people, they're new into tarot and things like that. But then for the most part, we're just preaching to the choir, and the real work is out there. And I'm pointing outside my window. It's out there in these streets. And I get that you kind of shield your spirituality out in the street when you're grocery shopping and things like that. You keep it normy. When you fall into conversations with strangers and things, you're having normal conversations. I was in the dollar store the other day, and I don't know if it's because of, the way I dress and things. This woman came up to me randomly, and she just started talking, and I swear she was batshit crazy. I shouldn't do that. But I mean, she was like, everyone is Jews or what was it, Italian. And it's like, okay, I'm not Jewish or Italian, but okay. And I mean, she was just, all kind of wild stuff. But it's like, at the same time, some of the stuff I resonated with. She called Earth the, like, Jesus rock or something like that. And she was like, we're all from, like, different star systems. And okay, like I say, some of that I resonated with, but then some of it that, like, she was just so wild with it that, like, fuck it, okay, it feels good to be able to, say some of the crazy stuff that goes on in my mind, some of my spiritual beliefs that I'm, you talk to a normie and they're like, what the? So, it's like we're both here in the dollar store just having, like, this outrageous conversation with one another. And I know you, like, I walk around with the red dot, with the honor, I call it the red dot, but with an honor to the divine feminine energy on my forehead. Sometimes I walk past, Christians or whoever passing out pamphlets, and it's like, as I walk by, I can tell their energy kind of clams up, like, okay, no, not her, she's not going to be interested. And like I say, I'm a theosophist, so yeah, I'm interested in this pamphlet you have talking about Jesus and things like that. I love learning, like, people's different aspects. Excuse me and forgive me if I've ever seemed to, like, harp on someone's, religion or beliefs. Is I only will harp on it. I will only come for people who I feel, come for me, or people who are so unaccepting of everyone else's beliefs. But it's like, at the same time, I don't want to necessarily, indulge in that energy. I don't want to seem like I'm unaccepting. There's Docetism, I believe it is, where there are people, agnostic, or not even agnostic, Gnostic people, who believe that Jesus's physical body, Jesus in that sense, never even existed. Like, he existed, but the thing is, he was in a spirit form, and it's like his physical body was only an illusion. Interesting, but at the same time, I don't knock it. And like I say, it's not for you to stand with the sign. It's not even for you to, like, pass out pamphlets and things like that when you go out. But spirit is calling for you. Look, 3 of Cups. Spirit is calling for you to go out into the streets. And as I call it, just plant seeds. One time I fell into a conversation with a young man, and he was curious about my bracelets and things. And I asked him, well, when you pray, do you pray to, who do you pray to? Is it the Christian God? And he was like, I don't know. I just kind of like say a prayer. Okay. So like, it's what, whoever answers, like, a dark entity grants this wish for you, like, is that okay? Is that God for you? Like, how does that work? And there's so many people who they're praying and they don't even necessarily know who they're praying to, what they're praying to, what they're really should be like praying for. And it's you have so much spiritual knowledge, and like I say, I appreciate you for being here, but Spirit wants you to go there. Spirit wants you to come into these Three of Cups. You see three women here celebrating. Who's to say that these three women know each other? Okay, you may be called to come into these unions with people you don't know, and it may be within doing this that you do come into your divine connection. I don't know if this resonates, take it. If it does not apply, let it fly. This is such a specific message for someone. Okay, if you're new to tarot, if you know that when it comes to the esoteric stuff, you just keep it to yourself, maybe this is for you, maybe this isn't for you. Maybe Spirit, the universe is saying, okay, it's time to stop keeping it to yourself. Four of Cups here, right? Yeah, Four of Cups here. Maybe it's time for you. Let me see, I'm trying to get rid of the glare there. Maybe it's time for you to start presenting this knowledge that you have to people lost. Like I say, if you've come across my channel, if you watch other tarots, again, it's preaching to the choir. Whereas there are young souls walking around completely clueless. Maybe, and it's people who I can't even say, oh, they're so, like how I like to harp on, people, as I say, ingrained in like these doctrines and dogmas and things like that. Maybe not even that. Maybe their parents weren't religious at all. Maybe their parents were completely of the world, and so they are of the world. And maybe their parents weren't, unfortunately, you can't stop someone from having a child. And so maybe, their parents, no judgment, but weren't exactly the best role model. And they're here, they're lost. Maybe there are people who recognize that they want some guidance, and maybe they've gone to like churches, maybe they've tried the different religions and things like that and haven't quite resonated with anything. So they've resigned to just being of the world. And it's like you planting the simplest seed can put them on the right track to awakening. This card here that came out is Queen of Swords. Okay, it's being approachable when you go out in public. How is it that love is the highest vibration, but when we're out in the world, when we're shopping, grocery shopping, clothes shopping, school shopping, taking an animal to the vet, and it's like we're so unapproachable? Do you understand? There are people who I see with the Eye of Horus bracelets, and they're, geared down in like their spirituality things, but it's like they won't even look at me. And it's like, dang, we're on the same, I won't say the same path, but or even like within the same energies and enlightenment, but you won't even return my smile. Like when I say hi, you walk past me. How is that? If love is the greatest vibration, if love is Christ consciousness, if love is the pathway to source and awakening, we should exhibit it to everyone. I don't care if you're Christian. I don't care if you're a Satan worshiper, like an actual Satan worshiper, and you're proud of it. Like I'm gonna show you what love is. And again, it's not to talk about, oh, me and what I'm doing and things like that, because this is definitely all about you. And maybe when you go out, you do exude love. And if you do, more power. This message, this part isn't for you. You take what resonates. Okay. But there may be some people who, again, like you're in public, you're so into your spirituality. I came across a video on YouTube that was talking about spiritual narcissism, and it's like you're so enlightened that you don't have time, for people of different religions or different belief systems. And what and things like that is the right way. And if that's the case, you're just like these other people. And again, those tend to be more so the people that I target when I start talking about ignorance and things like that. If you believe, listen, if you believe, again, that God is some man in the sky, more power to you. That is your right to believe it. Here in the United States, it's your constitutional right to believe it. And it doesn't make you ignorant. It doesn't make you on the path to, like destruction. Or I do believe that, like, you will have to reincarnate until you awaken to what I consider the truth. But it's at the same time, I also saw a video where it's like, you can't force everyone, and I might even be contradicting the entire message here. You can't force everyone to see your and follow your spirituality, because everyone's on their own spiritual curriculum. But then also, that's why I say you should be exuding love in the streets, and you should be planting seeds. Just a suggestion. What's it, when you're on trial in court? Listen, all you need, okay, is like to convince, like, to get off on something. All you need is even a shadow of a doubt, right? So like I said before, there's so many people who, they read the Bible and things, and they have to kind of like try to interpret it to their own understanding. That's one of the reasons they go to church, is so that, the preacher that they follow there, the pastor that they follow there, they come to his, which essentially is his understanding or his interpretation of the Bible, whether he's coming to that interpretation for himself or if that's been passed down and taught from someone else. And I've gone way off subject here, because at the end of the day, this is talking about the heavy heart that you have here. Look, Five of Pentacles. This is, look, okay, this reading is more so attesting to the heavy heart that you're carrying. And it's not to say that, your blessings that you've been seeking haven't come in because you haven't been doing enough. Like I say, that isn't the message. That's just a suggestion from Senpai Swanee. I've laid several suggestions now, and again, it's for each person watching this, what spirit has been dealing with your heart about. Whatever part of this message you take as confirmation for what you've already been dealing about. But know that you are worthy of love. Know that there is someone out there specially designed, specially created just for you. It looks like with this message here. Actually, let me pull up this life purpose. I was going to end this reading really quickly and just, leave it on the tarot. But I have all my little decks here. Like, I really do want to try another deck. I don't feel like, one of the romantic decks, the love decks, are appropriate. And it's like, I get that you want love, but there's work to be done. It says creative expression. Your soul longs to express itself creatively. So again, you may be on a platform, you may be on social media, but like I say, spirit's been dealing with you to do something more. And maybe you're like, okay, well, maybe I'll write a book. I've seen, readers, I've seen spiritual people, write books and things like that. There's something that your soul wants to do. Like I say, there's something spirit has been dealing with you about. Oh, two cards here. This says yoga. Your life is enhanced by yoga, stretching, and exercise. Okay. Maybe you need to go out and ground yourself a bit more. Maybe you need to start taking walks in the morning. And it's one thing to sit inside and meditate. It's one thing if you're chanting your mantras, but a lot of colds really do come from the sun. As you can see here, I'm all fried up. Like, I'm the last one to be like, get out in the sun, baby. I've been out in the sun so much. But then when I'm out here in the sun, like I say, that's when I get a lot of downloads. That's when I get a lot of messages from source and things like that. Like, it comes from the sun, whether you consider this to be an artificial sun or what have you. You may need to actually be outside more. But like I say, be outside and not just in your yard. Get out into these streets and plant seeds. Like, actually start, not just waiting for some random stranger to like start a conversation with you. I remember when I was a kid, I used to be so embarrassed when my mom would like just start conversations with people. Like, why are you talking to people? Be quiet. But it's like, now as an adult, I do it. Don't be embarrassed to do it. Listen, if they smile at you and turn their head, baby, brush it off. But we should be out here starting conversations with random people, old people, young people, just people. You be the starter of these conversations and plant seeds. This here says you're on the right path. Keep doing what you're doing because it's working. Okay? That's not to say give up your platform. That's not to say what you've already been doing, stop that and start doing this. Is do that, but do this also, because it may be within striking up a conversation with some random teenage girl who's going to introduce you to her fine ass uncle. One can hope, right? Now let me just stop. So is move not with the intention of finding love. Don't say, okay, well, you know what, he's kind of cute, maybe I'll kind of smile at him and seem more approachable to him, or maybe I'll compliment her and let her know that she's beautiful, in case no one else has told her. It's not with those intentions, because they always say that love appears when you really aren't looking for it. And it's not like, oh, I'm not looking for it. It's, I was not expecting this at all. I don't know, collective. That's always what I say, right? I don't know. I do know. I need to stop saying I don't know. I do know. This is the message that Spirit has for you today. This is the message that Spirit has for you today. You are worthy of love. You are freaking beautiful. And if you're not feeling that way, go look in the mirror and look at yourself in the mirror until like you do see the things within you that make you beautiful. If you need a little extra push, like I say the affirmations. You know that you are beautiful. You are God's creation. You know, created perfectly for the purpose that you're here to serve. This says author. You have a book inside of you. Maybe it is for you to write a book that wishes to be expressed. Make time to write it. Maybe it is for you. Maybe your great work isn't just planting a seed verbally. Maybe who makes the pamphlets that people pass out? Make pamphlets. It doesn't have to be a book that you sell on Amazon. Make pamphlets and give those out for free. It doesn't always have to be about turning a profit if you're doing a great work, right? Career change. I'm not making this up. You know, I'm not preaching to myself. I'm not preaching to the choir. Someone somewhere needed to hear this. I thank you for joining me on this channel. You're embarking upon a career that brings you the joy and abundance you desire and deserve. I'm going to leave it right there. I'm going to sit this down and I'm going to leave it right there. It's time for you to get out of your comfort zone. It's time for you to start talking to strangers. It's time for you to make this pamphlet. It's time for you to start planting seeds so that you get your abundance, so that you get the things that you desire. It's great that you're manifesting it. It's great that like you're putting in the energy and the shadow work and everything. But universe says for you to really truly get these things, like, look, you got to push. You want equal give and take. The universe has something beautiful for you. But you need to do, you got to do the work. You're not going to get the beautiful laying on your back, sitting on your ass. Let's go. Look, excuse me for getting excited. Collective, I release you with love. All of this is from my heart. While you're out on this endeavor, while you're talking to these people on the street, collective, be safe, be happy, be loved, be of love, and be easy. This your girl, Senpai Swanee. Let me hit the arm with it. I love you. Bye, collective.